Okay, so in this question, we've been asked to calculate the arc length of the sector. Now, what we need to think first of all is, what is the arc length? Where is that? So here, what I've highlighted is the arc length of this sector, and that is actually, if we were to continue that round, it just becomes part of the circumference of a circle. So we should be fairly happy with, in order to calculate the circumference of a circle, that's pi times diameter. Now what we need to do is we need to get just part of that. So if we think about the degrees in a circle, there are 360 degrees in one full circle. So if I divide that by 360, I will then have the arc length for just 1 degree. But I wasn't after the arc length for just 1 degree of that circle. I wanted the arc length for 60 degrees of that circle. So what I then need to do is times by 60. Now this is a generalised rule in terms of whenever you want to find the arc length, you do pi times diameter divided by 360 and then times it by the angle, and it will work every time. So let's think back in the context of this question. We have pi times, now we need to work out what the diameter is. Now remember, this part of the circle is the radius, and we need to double that in order to get the diameter. So the diameter for this particular question is 24, and you need to divide that by 360 and times by 60 to calculate my final answer. Now it's just a case of typing that in and rounding your answer to 1 decimal place. And the answer to that is 12.6. Now don't lose any marks here for not putting units on, and that is 12.6 centimetres because you're actually calculating the length of the arc length. Okay, so it's 12.6. To make these questions a little bit trickier, sometimes they will ask you for the perimeter of the sector. Now, if we think of perimeter, that's all the sides added up. So I know that this side is 6 centimetres long, and I also know that this side is 6 centimetres long, because if it's the radius of the sector, that's going to be the same at either side. And the final thing that I need is this arc length in order to calculate the perimeter. So remember, arc length is calculated by doing pi times the diameter, because that will give you the circumference of the full circle, divided by 360 to find 1 degree, and then times by the angle that you want for your particular question. So in this one, let's have a think about what that means. So it's pi times, now the diameter is the full way across the circle, so I need to double that 6, which is going to give me 12, divide by 360 and times by the angle that we're after, which is actually this 82. So when I type that into my calculator, that gives me now it says 2 decimal places, so I'm going to round to 2 decimal places here, 8.59. Now, I wasn't just after the arc length in this particular question, I wanted the perimeter, so I now know that this is 8.59, and for the perimeter I need to add the arc length plus both the radius. And when I do that, that's going to give me a final answer of 20.59. And remember again, don't lose any final marks on units here. That's going to be 20.59 centimetres.